All right. And now we should be live on YouTube as well. Look at that. We're here fashionably late. Everybody loves it that we're late.
Predictably late.
Yeah, predictably late. It's my favorite part of being late. It's being fashionable. Hello. Welcome, everybody. We're here. I recreated a Zoom window layout, even though Gordon and I are in the office like normal. But, yeah, everybody else is at home.
Very clever.
I was just like, we could up it a little bit. And since we have 5 people, it just would have been weird on the TV, so.
Yeah, that would have been tiny. I guess we could put other people, like other monitors. Early on, I think we were saying we were going to build like a dummy and then, mannequin and then put like a monitor in the face. That would have been funny.
Wow, that's not nice.
No, man.
I'm just kidding.
Hey, everybody. We are going to be talking about the best hardware, PC hardware of 2021. So everybody's going to bring their, how's this going to work? We're going to all nominate something and then everybody votes?
No. I mean, I think it's usually just been more of a little bit of a discussion.
No,
a little fun.
Yeah.
It's always great. Mm-hmm. It's always a good time.
Well, we got 5 folks now, so there'll be no ties, so we don't got to worry about it.
I know, right?
Oh,
I was going to mention that
no.
earlier, too.
Oh, no. This means we can't go to the people to be the tiebreaker.
I mean,
that was my source of strength.
The people will have sway.
Yeah. Pentium N is what the people would pick. It's low cost.
All right, so I need to find this and do this and do that. Okay, save it. Okay. The only other thing I did not account for was the intro in this new setup, so
Dave Weldon is voting for the Gigabyte power supply. I actually bought one of those. It was really, really low cost. And then I forgot and left it out on the deck during a rainstorm.
Oh.
But really? I've let it dry.
Was that a joke?
No, because it was, you put the Amazon box outside. Say, oh, damn. It was during that massive rainstorm we had recently.
My favorite meme around all that was somebody took it and replaced the bomb in CSGO with that, and it just cracked me up.
That is pretty good. I like that.
One day it would be great to find out what really happened. Like, is it just simply pandemic supply shortage? Like, you had to make a cap swap out because you had to, because you couldn't get the part, but one day.
I don't know. Good question.
You're never gonna know.
We're not gonna answer that today.
Yeah, but we were gonna tell you what is actually the best hardware this year.
Yeah, actually, 1 second.
I like how I look over and I just see like the camera just like going zzz on Gordon.
I just opened up this YouTube interface. That is pretty slick how Adam has it set up, but it's real weird seeing myself in the past.
It is.
That always throws me off.
It's very disorienting.
I have to do the pop out.
I still like that one time we did that. Although that was insane, but we did that crossover video where we that was because it was kind of cool to see the latency in YouTube. Us watching Gamers Nexus live stream, and then him putting us on the screen, and then watching how long it took for that to get that.
That does look good
at this point.
There's strange background noise.
Oh, good. Anybody else hearing a strange background noise?
That's the one where you hit the mic?
I think it might be studio only.
Oh, fun. All right. Well, let me mute myself.
Up, out.
I expect this one might actually be easier than years past, because like last year was an awesome year for hardware, but this year it's basically we're doing what we can. Well, nothing is shipping very fast.
Yeah, I can't really remember what happened last year. Personally. Some of my pick for worst trend, though, I don't think is necessarily a 2021 thing, but it just does bug me.
I want to say something, but I feel like I should save it for when we actually get there. So I'm going to have to sit on this.
Sounds like
hard. I gotta say, when I was going through the pics, also because this is literally my first day back from like a 2-week vacation. So my brain's not exactly in work mode. So I'm sitting at my desk yesterday going through my pics and I'm like, what did release this year? What is time? What month is this? Isn't it just March?
Yeah, I usually am pretty good. I'm like, oh yeah, I know this came out this year. This beat this.
Yeah.
But this one I actually had to like go back and look because I had no idea what came out in the spring.
Yeah, the first things that came to mind, I was like, yeah, that. And I looked, I was like, that came out last year.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Oops. So I got some curveballs, though. I got some things I don't think people are going to see coming.
Let me know if hopefully the noise is gone. Great. Yay.
Dave Wilton in chat says, there was a last year? Dude.
Yeah.
I'm on the same page.
We're in month 23 of 2020 right now.
Yeah. Liquid R says 2021 is just 2020 part 2.
Yeah. New Game
really
Plus.
Is. 2020.1.
It's so weird too, because like last year I felt like it like dragged out, and this year it just like went just like blink of the eye. Like I don't know what happened.
Well, all the stuff that didn't happen last year got crammed in this year with the stuff that was already planned for this year.
And sorry for people turning into the stream. We are still tuning some technical issues.
Yay, technical. Yay, technical.
Working on the horizontals and verticals.
You know, if you had a Mac, it would just work.
I know, right? Jeez.
I saw that hardware unbox video on M1 Pro this morning versus the PC, AMD, and Intel laptops. Pretty good. Good video. You should go over and check it out if you're interested in that. Because
Tim and Steve do good work.
It was really good work. I thought it was very, very fair. You know, of course, the super fans as they are, you know, up in arms over it because, you know, clearly there's a bias against the Mac from Hardware Unboxed, but they were about as fair as you could be, I think.
Right. Anything that doesn't say exactly what I want it to say and defend my stance is wrong.
Exactly. Okay. I think I've finally figured it out.
Awesome.
I mean, hopefully there's only one way to find out. Is to keep going.
Oh my God.
One way to find out. Okay. Are we ready to get going? We got a lot to figure out.
John points out the New York Times columnist wrote the chip that could transform computing.
Oh, Alder Lake?
Of course not. Is that made by Apple, Adam? Only things made by Apple can transform things. Yeah, New York Times. You keep going.
Okay. Then are we ready to get going? I'm gonna do the ad read here.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. This episode of The Full Nerd is sponsored by Avast. Avast has been a global leader in cybersecurity for more than 30 years and is trusted by over 435 million users. Avast One is their best protection yet, giving you everything you need to take control of your safety and privacy online, and it's accessible through an easy, single-to-use interface. A free version includes essential features such as free antivirus, free VPN, and free firewall protection, while the premium version has even more advanced protection. Learn more about Avast One at avast.com.
In this episode of The Full Nerd, the best PC hardware of 2021. In November.
Oh, and of course, the music isn't playing.
Welcome to episode 197 of The Full Nerd. I'm your host, Gordon Mong, with co-host Brad Charkis.
Hello, Internet.
Elena Yee.
Hi, everyone.
Keith May.
Hello.
And Adam Patrick Murray is controlling the vertical and horizontal.
Oh, trying to do something. I'm excited. This is always one of the fun parts of the end of the year, is doing the award show. We're doing it a little bit early this year, but I still think it's going to be fun. I had two housekeeping things that I was going to say, but I forgot. Oh, one of them is next week. I'm here. I want to announce next week I'm going to be doing a live build in the studio next Wednesday, sponsored by Avast. So please tune into that. It's going to be a small form factor gaming PC for a TV. So nice little box to put on your home theater setup. I'm excited about that one. So tune in next Wednesday. I think it's in the afternoon is probably when we're going to start it. I need to figure that out.
Is it really going to be a home theater box, or it's really a gaming and then you can also stream on it box?
No. It's gaming, a PC gaming tower on the TV, not a set-top box. Yeah. So it's all controlled with my Steam controller. Just kidding.
Wow.
Also, yep. Well, I don't remember what the other second item was. So, yeah, I think we should just keep going then.
So
Gordon, what's going on?
In this episode, this is, I know it feels a little early, but to be honest, the year is not going to change. Everything that's going to come out has come out. And I think it's safe to say in November, we can pick the best hardware of the year. How this works is
not only that, I just want to throw it in. Not only are we not expecting too much new big stuff, but with ship times being what they are and everything, having this info now might be useful to you. So that's part of the reason that we're doing it early.
That's actually a really good point, because it's going to take a while to get some hardware at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the way it works is generally someone picks, represents a category, makes a nomination, then everybody chimes in, the peanut gallery chimes in, and then some people vote thumbs up, thumbs down.
Yeah. Well, and this year, this is the first time. Oh, that was the second thing. This is the first time we've had a fifth member on the voting. So Keith is here. It's his first year as a Full Nerd official member. So excited to have you. In the past, the chat has always been the deciding factor when there's a stalemate. So now there's the chat will always have a sway. But
yes,
yeah, I'm gonna. Interested to see how it goes here. I will say I do have categories. Let me put up this nice little slide. There we go. So we have 8 categories, and they're essentially the same as last year. We kind of modify it every year, but this year it's the same. So we got best CPU, best GPU, best case, best accessory, best laptop, best PC game, best innovation, and worst trend. I don't remember what last year's winners and losers were, but it doesn't matter. It's 2021. So yeah, I guess, do we want to start at the top then and start talking about CPUs?
Yeah, I think so. And
M1 Max.
I'm going to...
And we're done.
Yeah, okay, we're done. Although this is the best PC hardware of the year, so...
Max PC.
Oh, let's not get into that.
It's coming at some point, though.
No, it's somebody's going to say it, and it's not a PC. It's not a PC. If they were a PC, you wouldn't say, should I buy a Mac or a PC? If you would say, what laptop should I buy? And let's not pay attention to the operating system, you could say that. But it is simply indefensible to try to say it's a PC only at the end when you are losing your arguing position. So it's not. But, ladies and gentlemen of the court, I would like to argue 2021 is over, and the clear winner for the best desktop CPU of 2021 is Intel's 12th gen Alder Lake CPU. I don't think anybody's really surprised by it. You're getting basically leadership position in content creation, arguably slightly more gaming performance to make it best technically gaming CPU. You're also getting all kinds of cool stuff like PCIe 5, DDR5 as well, if you can find it on the shelves. But clearly, Alder Lake, based on Intel 7, which is 10 nanometer SuperFin technology, is the best CPU when you look at certain things like Core i5 versus Ryzen 5, Core i7 versus Ryzen 7, and Core i9, although it doesn't completely push Ryzen 9 off, it wins in enough things to make it probably the CPU a lot of people would buy over a Ryzen 9 5950, because content creation is a very important task. Arguably 3D content creation, very heavily threaded apps would go toward Ryzen. That's clear. Also, there's more power efficiency on Ryzen in some workloads doing those things. But if you want the newest thing and you want the coolest thing right now, Intel's 12th gen Alder Lake is it, and also it came out in 2021. Actually, came out last year.
Yeah, that's Steelskin 667 said, "Wait, wasn't 12th gen Intel the only CPU release this year?"
Yes, it's the best of, but still, yes, you still have to. There are people who would say no. Ryzen was so good, it's still the best CPU of 2021, even though it bled over from 2020 to 2021.
I mean, we make our own rules here at the nerdies.
Well, typically true that it's the only CPU that came out. Year, but
it is not.
Wait, what's the other one then?
Well, I guess should we get to other people's picks, or because I'll wait.
No, yeah.
I'll go on Gordon's. Because I'm along the same lines as him. I agree. It's Alder Lake. I got a little bit more specific. I think it's the Core i5 12600K because I think that's the clear value proposition. It blows Ryzen 5 out of the water. It's more than enough for what every normal person, let's say, needs. Every normal gamer, if you're not doing video production, all that kinds of stuff. But even if you're doing streams and stuff, it works great. 12900K. Trades more blows. It's priced very high. I think the 12600K in particular is the CPU of the year.
Interesting. Okay. Well, what's the other pick? 'Cause I know we got another one.
I feel like Keith and I may be aligned on this, or at least he knows what I'm talking about. I actually would nominate the 5600G.
High five.
Yeah. Value team right here.
Yeah.
And so here's my thinking on that. It's because, like for sure, like Alder Lake, great, really impressive. But if you really look at the benchmarks for me, like with something like Brad's pick, specifically the i5, Ryzen 5 level, like you're getting amazing amount of performance content creation and that kind of task, right? So if you are somebody who needs, that as well as the gaming component. But I feel like still a lot of people, when they go out to buy these, chips for building a PC, more often than not, they're pretty much focusing on gaming, not even gaming and streaming, but just gaming. And I feel like the value is just so much stronger with the 5600G still, even though the performance is outclassed a little bit by the i5 part. And like right now, like you can get a 5600G for, what did I write down here? I think it was like $240 when I checked last night.
No more than 270.
Yeah. So, so last night I checked, it was like $240. Right now, the i5 12600K is like $330. And then on top of that, if you go for DDR5 RAM and a 600 series chipset motherboard, that's going to cost you quite a bit more. And I feel like these days, especially given what prices for everything, you can't beat the value of 5600G. So that's my pick, honestly. Like I like that AMD is still, this kind of starts to touch on what I would talk about for worse trends, but there's not a lot for people in like the mid levels even right now. So it's nice to see that you don't have to like pay with both arms, not just arm and leg, but it's like 2 arms and 2 legs. You can actually just go with like the normal pricing.
Well, Tech with Sean says, if you're looking for a 5600G to play 30 FPS games, why don't you just get an Xbox?
Can't do your taxes on an Xbox. I see Gordon's face.
No, I'm just saying, because the 5600G is, because it's basically, Ryzen Mobile moved into a desktop part. It's a good part. It's not a performance part. I mean, definitely if you have no choice and you can't get a GPU, I think it's, if you're kind of considering the whole, lousiness of the world that is right now, that's good. But if you're in a performance, and not to take away from Ryzen 5 5600G, but that 10-core i5 will just crush it. I mean, 5600X is definitely faster than a 5600G. So you're talking 10 cores versus 6 cores. It's just, I know people want to paint Alder Lake as somehow really expensive. It's about
really hot.
It's really $320 on the street, and in about 3 months it could be under $300 potentially. And you're getting 10 cores, so you're now getting 10 cores of performance for $320. I would argue that is a fantastic deal because you were not able to get that before previously. 5600G is a good part, but, and again, it's whether what you're chasing. 5600G integrated graphics is what it is. If you can't get a GPU, I'm always going to say go for discrete graphics if you're really going to game, because the performance.
Where are you going to get the card?
What do you mean?
Where are you going to get the card right
now?
now?
You have an existing card.
We'll get there. We'll get there. We'll get there.
I just think, yeah, if you were like, you burned everything to the ground, but that's not really for most people. But I just think that.
That's not true.
IGP gaming is not, I'm a snob for me, and I admit that's the problem, is I don't believe IGP gaming is great for people who have no other choice. It is not something I would pick over discrete graphics right now. Maybe on a Mac M1 I would. No, I wouldn't there either.
I'm just saying that. So yeah, you're not. It's not like you're getting no value with a 12600K, but you're at 330. Even if it were to come down to like 290 in 3 to 4 months, that's still, to me, that is above the class of what an i5 Ryzen 5 is. Like, to me, you should be looking more in like the solid 200, mid 200 range for pricing. So if you're somebody in that range, which is a lot of people, I think that you still have a choice out there that gives you that option where you get solid performance still. I mean, I just think we're talking about two slightly different classes of chips, honestly, at this point, despite the nomenclature.
Yeah, we should go ahead.
I agree that it's two different classes of chips. I think they're both very good picks, to be honest. Spoiler alert, this is not the only category these Ryzen APUs will be nominated in. They are very good parts for people who need graphics cards, but we've been waiting ever since Ryzen came out. What's Intel's counterpunch going to be? What's going to happen when they go to 10 nanometer, all Superfin, all this stuff, Intel 7, whatever they call it these days. The next node. They've finally done it. These Alder Lake chips are incredible, full stop. And I think they deserve the recognition of saying, hey, it's taken a while, but your counterpunch, it landed. It kicks ass. 12600K is just everything we were hoping it would be and probably more. Yeah. So, I mean, to me, that's the big deal. As I said, I don't think this is going to be the only category the Ryzen APUs are nominated in. And I really think that when it comes to just best CPU, what are we going to remember a few years from now? I think Alder Lake is going to be it.
Yeah, but what if the 5600G wins CPU and GPU?
It's a really good point, though. Brad has a really good point, because when history is remembered, people are going to go, yeah, 5600G and 5. It's a good part. It's fantastic for what it is. Believe me, people are going to be like, yeah, remember that, like a Celeron 300A? I mean, that thing is like, that's like from 15 years ago, people still talk about like it's the best thing in the world. I don't think people will have fond memories of 5600G necessarily. It is basically an ends to a means, whereas 12th Gen i5 is 50% faster in content creation, right? 3D rendering, 50% faster, 30% faster in Photoshop, Premiere, a lot of things like that. It's a significant, and that's over 5600X. So I think it's a significant performance increase if you care about things that, because the PC is about going forward, it's about moving the goalpost forward. It's not about finding the best Toyota Corolla on the lot for $1,200. It's just not that doesn't get you anywhere. They get you a world of netbooks, which serves a people, but you have to move forward. You got to move forward. If you don't get faster, you sit back and you look at M2X kicking your butt all day. And we don't want to get to that point by saying, oh yeah, we always got to go for let's chase to the bottom. That's not where we should be. We got Apple there. We've got Qualcomm. We're fighting a lot of different forces. We got to move forward, not just look for cheapest deal. And that's the thing that makes it the best. And that is just not any solution that gets you to a win.
I don't know. I think Toyota's saying that they're winning with all the Corollas on the road. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm really interested to see what Keith thinks.
I see where I completely understand where Gordon's coming from. The problem for me comes in to it's the total platform. with it. You then get into the whole, and I understand want to move forward and Windows 11 is the new thing. But now what if you're somebody that doesn't want to be on Windows 11, you want to be on Windows 10 and you're getting hit with the problems with Alder Lake? It's not a huge thing, but it is an issue. The 5600G offers you a lot all in one package, and they both offer the same thing. Both offer processors with graphics abilities and stuff. But I feel like the 5600G it gets you on a more, at this point, a mature platform, which is, code name for older, but it's a bit more mature. The graphics side of things will be more solid. It's running the full Radeon graphics stack. So you're getting all of that. And it's upgradable. You're not 100% locked into it. So
same thing with Alder Lake, though.
I was going to say, but the same argument stands on both. I feel like most of the arguments can be made for both of them. The problem that you run into with that conversation is what's better for more people.
Well,
that's not really what these awards are, though.
No. Sometimes they are. Sometimes they are.
Sometimes they are. Sometimes they can be, but it doesn't have to be.
Do you remember in the Academy Awards when they said, well, this really was a masterpiece, but I'll tell you, I really got into this movie really cheap. I snuck in there, and it's cheaper, so now it is the best movie of the year. That is no universe how anything is ever picked for the best.
All I'm saying is, if I remember this correctly, Titanic won for Best Picture, didn't it? Like, come on.
Yeah.
And you knew how that was going to end.
But that's not because Titanic was cheaper. Believe me, Titanic cost that year probably 10x what LA Confidential cost.
So this is just about money? Like, we just have to inflate the price on the 5600G?
For me, these are both really great parts. And
they
in
are.
a vacuum, more people will probably buy 5000G in the short term. Especially because Intel, like they've been doing the last few generations for inexplicable reasons, launched only with the high-end Z600 series motherboards. That makes the value proposition of 12600K less so. That being said, as a CPU by itself, 12600K kicks all kinds of butt. And I really think we've been saying, wait for Alder Lake. Let's see what Intel's counterpunch is going to be. And they did it, and they landed it. And it's an uppercut to AMD. Like, AMD's been rolling the last few years. Alder Lake just turned the tables on that. And I think we'd be remiss to not, honor that.
Yeah. And also, it's a killer deal on the performance you're getting. So, and I would disagree that there will be more 5600G sold. Sure.
In the short term.
Yeah, but I will tell you, when you add up the numbers in 12 months or 24 months, Intel is Intel, and
they're going to sell a ton of these.
If you're going by win because they're going to sell more, then they are going to by default win. I don't necessarily think that's a metric anyone should use. Like, most people bought this, so it's the best. I don't really believe that. I'm with you. You got to recognize that this is after there have been it's been a really, really long rebuilding, right? And this is the first part, and now it feels like people want to dump on it because it was already a phenomenal deal at whatever $290 supposedly, right? And it's $260 for the KF part. Now people want to dump on it because it's not $200. I mean, come on. What do you want? I mean, I think that's unreasonable personally.
I like the KF better, personally.
I wouldn't do it because I the integrated graphics, QuickSync, and the MEDA encode decode stuff is really handy in a lot of things. So I generally think I would want the K part, but yeah, no, I agree. KF is attractive to some.
12400. If they ever make that line like that, I think that would be the one of the Alder Lake parts that I would go, yeah, that.
Yep. But they haven't yet.
That's what I'm saying. But they haven't yet. So the part that I would think would be the best of them doesn't exist. And that's going off of what we've seen in the past. So that's just pure me guessing. So I can't pick that part. So
the Ryzen 5000G is just a little bit better. It's also vastly more expensive than the chips that it's replacing. Ryzen chip. the 12600K, if you remember, the 11th gen Intel parts were trash. Like, no offense, they weren't trash. They were not anything that's very offensive, actually. They weren't trash. They took a lot of hard work to make that happen. That being said, it was definitely showing the age of the 14 nanometer chip. Nobody recommended those parts over Ryzen whatsoever. 12600K is a massive step forward for Intel, whereas the Ryzen 5000G is just an iteration for AMD.
That's a fair point.
One question I have real quick, Gordon, would you still say, would you recommend if somebody was going to pick up 12600K to go DDR4, DDR5, Windows 10, Windows 11?
Pick your poison.
I would say DDR. Well, it's kind of weird because I sort of have to view it in the vacuum that it is, because we're picking best CPU, not best DRAM of the year, right?
I know.
I would, honestly, there are definitely going to be some performance. It's not going to be quite as fast in some things in DDR4, but most people should build DDR4 if they're going to build at this price, right? If you're going to do, but then I think the problem isn't really the price of DDR5. It's that it doesn't even exist. You can't find this stuff anywhere. I've talked to people like it's nowhere. So it's not even that they would pay $300 for the RAM probably. And you could argue that, to get double the bandwidth is worth it. But, I think the practical decision is most people should build DDR5 with an i5 part, right? That's just what you're going to do.
What does Adam have to say about all this?
I mean, it's hard. Me personally, if I was going to pick one, 12600K all day, for sure, of course. But man, when I think of like what I would recommend to most normal people, especially given the GPU stuff too, like, man, having that nice entry level part, you can upgrade it, if you need to throw in a different chip. I know not that many people do it, especially people who kind of start off.
Most people do a laptop. I mean, also people got to realize most people they buy laptops. That is
exactly
normal. People will buy laptops.
You can't. Elder Lake came out and kicked ass. You can't give the best CPU with Elder Lake coming out and landing that counterpunch to an iterative Ryzen APU. Man, that's crazy to me.
This is why the people's choice is nobody cares about the people's choice.
Well, I mean, it's funny though. I am watching the chat too, and I feel like the chat is. I thought coming into it, the chat was going to be like, AMD, but it's kind of mixed. I do want to ask one more question. This isn't a joke. There are some people asking like, are we really not going to count the M1 Pro or the M1 Max? Like,
well, it's not a PC. Well, one thing we're talking about right now, we're talking about desktop processors. So, give me a desktop M1 Max to consider that runs Windows. That's.
Okay. I mean, I'm just thinking all the things you're saying about, exciting chip progression, like something that like is going to shake up the landscape. The M1 obviously did that. It's an exciting part.
Yeah, no, it's a cool part. We're talking about desktop parts here. So, but I would again fundamentally say it would be fundamentally wrong to pick the best thing just because it's the cheapest. That's what we're saying here. It's the best thing because it's the cheapest. I'm sorry, that's.
I'm not saying it's the cheapest. I'm not wired. It's the best.
I'm not wired to, and then also to ignore this. This is a phenomenal achievement, right? I'll tell you, 12 months ago, none of us were going, Alder Lake makes sense. We're like, what the hell is this? Are you going to really mix atom cores to core cores? That sounds like a stew that's going to taste like poo, right? Alder Lake comes out. It is amazing for what it is, right? I mean, it's just like, wow, you've got those E-cores are really good cores. They're going to shake up low-cost computers, too, when they come out. And it's really an amazing part, which the expectations 12 months ago, everybody was like, this is the wrong way to go. This is like, what are you going to, it made no sense, right? So to dump on that achievement, to come back from
dumping on it.
8th gen, just barely hung on. 9th gen reboot was like just getting kicked. 10th gen was like, it's like, you shouldn't even be playing. It's like, and the 11th gen was like, and that was only early this year. There were 2 Intel CPU launches this year. 11th gen Rocket Lake came out this year. People just panned it. People just hardcore panned it, right? And I'll tell you, everybody was like, is Intel done? Have they lost it? Like, they're never going to come back. The dynasty is over forever kind of stuff, right? But we are now back where, like, they can trade blows with AMD's best, and they can crush AMD's best mid-range parts, right? It's just simply how much they want to do the crushing at the mid-range. So how could you not recognize that to pick the cheapest?
I will say that no matter what we pick, we're not dumping on the other one, right? Even if we pick the 12600K, we're not dumping on the 5600.
Yes, you are.
No, you're not. See, truth is, I had both of these picked. Like, that's what made this so hard for me, as I was like, specifically the 12600K.
When Titanic won, let me tell you, the LA Confidential people like me, that was like, we was robbed. It's like, that stupid movie with all the CG and come on. It was a terrible movie compared to LA Confidential. But, you know, it cost more money, big budget. It appealed to the masses because, you know, it's a romance story, whatever. The boat sank.
Well, my favorite thing is that this year, this can actually be a debate and a discussion.
Yes, absolutely. We have a pretty funny comment actually on Twitch right now where it says, Northern Tech Hermit said, I'm sorry, does Alder Lake this year have a GTX 1050 equivalent built-in graphics on it? Nope.
And like I said, I'm also going to be servicing the Ryzen in another category as well. So I feel like we could have our cake and eat it too here. I really think we'd be nuts to not give Alder Lake the nod. Like, this is what we've been waiting for 5 years, and Intel landed it, man.
Yeah, they delivered.
Yeah.
I don't think, excuse me, I don't think either Keith or myself are saying that Intel didn't. We just have different reasons for.
We just wanted to be cheaper. We wanted to be
like, that's not why.
We want to open up the box and find a $500 bill in the box, and then I like it. Then I will complain about not being $1,000 bill. Why didn't you give me $1,000 bill in the box?
It's very easy to reduce it to just being cheap, but I think both Keith and I did mention the whole like ecosystem around the chip as well, like what you're plugging into essentially with the chip.
Well, and that's why I asked, like, would you recommend DDR4, DDR5?
Silly. And it's
and
going
there's
to look
testing, and it performs just fine on Windows 10 as well.
And it's going to look silly in 6 months. It's going to look stupid in 12 months because Windows 11 will only get better. And you think Microsoft really wants to make you stay on Windows 10? No, they don't. Windows 11 is going to get all the focus, all the magic. It's just, that's the way it is, right? So,
I mean, that's the other thing, and some people have brought it up too, is like Alder Lake is brand new. Like, it's only been out for whatever, a week or two, you know, and it's just like,
week.
Yeah, it's just like,
yeah, but we've already tested it and know what it can do, though.
Yeah, I mean, but you know,
wait. So what is it? So it's too new? Is that the what?
Well, no, I think Adam's point is fair because we've had this discussion around GPU side, right? Where like when the NVIDIA cards came out, the 2000 series 20 series cards came out, right? Like where it's like, you know, they came out and they're like promising these things are going to come. And we're like, we got to take what it is now, right? Alder Lake just came out. So we have to take the current state of Windows 10 versus Windows 11 and all that now, as we discussed, right? Like
it delivers.
I'm just saying we can project for sure. Like, I'm not saying that, Brad, you haven't said anything that it was just that I feel like Gordon is projecting where it's like in 4 months, it's going to be cheaper. In like X number of months, Windows 11 is going to be more robust. Like, I feel like those things can't quite be used as arguments for this discussion just yet.
Well, I agree with you. Just to also kind of counter what Gordon is saying, he's talking about Windows 11 in the future and all that jazz. I agree 100%. You need to buy what you can buy today and take that into account. I've always said that. Everyone thinks you need Windows 11 to run the Alder Lake chips. You totally do not. If you go look, I think Gordon's maybe been testing it, but there's also been, if you go look at Gamers Nexus, you know, hardware and box stuff like that, they've done Windows 10 versus Windows 11 Alder Lake pieces, and it's good on both. You don't need Windows 11. You don't need to go to DDR5. You can if you want to get all those future things, but you don't have to. Even on Windows 10, with what you have today with your DDR4 RAM, this chip kicks butt.
I do want to just, before we try to finalize here, I do want to get the temperature of the chat. So in the chat right now, everyone just put 12600K or 5600G. I just, not that it's going to determine anything. I just, it's hard to tell where the chat is. We got a little bit on both. So, yeah. I mean, somebody said it earlier. We're talking about best value versus like mid range, right? You know.
Yeah, they're very different categories, so
budget
it is annoying to have this conversation. But I do want to point out a very good point that was brought up earlier: 1080 Ti versus 2080. 1080 Ti was an awesome card at an awesome price. DLSS does not run. DLSS does not run.
This is not the same. This is not the same. No.
Somebody give Gordon.
Somebody brought that up earlier.
Well, listen. Okay. Well, other than the couple random people that are saying 2600K. Not the same part. Not the same part. Though that was a good part.
Seriously.
I mean, yeah, okay. Yeah.
Just take the one off.
I would say I'm leaning towards Intel because of my personal preference, but then also because especially in the past couple of years, we've seen a lot of Intel hate, and to have this much, even if it was 50-50, to have it that close on the Intel side, and people are showing up to say, hey, you know what, we're not just AMD fanboys. That makes me feel a little bit better. So yeah, I kind of lean toward 12600K.
I am happy with that as a solution. I still pick both. But you gotta have one. You gotta have one.
Yeah. This just in, I got a memo. 12600K will come with a $1,000 bill in the box. So maybe that would change your mind. I'm making that up. That's not true at all.
I just realized when Adam was saying that 12600K is basically just a 2600K with a 1 in the front. So maybe it takes every 10 generations for them to land a stutter.
Well, you know,
if the 12600K sticks around as long as the 2600K.
Yeah.
Well, if you think, look at the KF part. The KF part is 264, right? And again, I think we mentioned this. Once you factor in inflation, that was the price of a 2500K.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Somebody does, Mike Brazone, friend of the show, says, how about no winner? I could just do that.
No, that was we did that the 6950X year.
Yeah.
So.
It was deserved that year.
Yeah, you know.
$1,723.
Yeah, okay. I mean, like, I actually was coming into it going to fight real hard for 5600G because I think it is an awesome part. It stands the test of time, even though it's not exciting and it's not the newest thing. It is a solid part, a solid value, especially if you're having a hard time getting a GPU. You can use it in so many different ways. So I'm not going to say that second place is poo-pooing all over it.
No,
I still think
they're
it's
both
awesome.
great.
But yeah, okay. I lean towards 12600K then. That's my vote.
All right, we got a winner.
Yeah. All right.
Yep.
Then look at this. I'm gonna flash it up. The winner of the 2021 Nerdy for CPU is the Intel Core i7 12600K. Oh crap! Oh, one second.
While Adam is fixing that, I will say that I am not denying how good of a chip Alder Lake is, and the 12600K is a very fine chip. I think I've already outlined all my reasons. I don't need to go over it again. Yeah. I will say though, I find it interesting that on Twitch, so on YouTube, most of the chat is, I would say like maybe 2/3 are going for 12600K. I don't know what's going on with my brain today. It's the first day back from vacation. Whereas on Twitch, the first votes out of the gate were 5600G. So we've got an interesting split in the audiences here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, in that case, can I kick off GPU discussion?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
That is the next one.
So I'm the graphics card reviewer here at PC World. There were, in fact, several graphics cards launches this year. 3080 Ti, 3070 Ti came out. 3070 Ti was not worth the money. 3080 Ti was a kick-ass card. It's what the 3090 should have been, basically, albeit for $200 more than the 2080 Ti was. We also had 3060... RX 6600 and 6600 XT. Those are all $300+ graphics cards. for 1080p, which I just can't get behind any of that. That's disgusting to me. That's gross. I understand there's supply reasons, all that jazz, but can't recommend that. So it's kind of a bummer. The biggest regret I have ever on this show was an APU getting the win over the 1080 Ti back in the day. But this year, I really feel like the best GPU for the majority of people out there, just in general, the thing that has saved budget gaming if you want to play Fortnite or whatever with your homies, is Ryzen 5000G APUs we were just talking about. I don't think it stands up as best CPU for all the reasons we just talked about, but I genuinely think that is the best graphics card for a lot of people today. Don't pay those crazy scalper prices. Don't pay those crazy inflated prices. Go get yourself a Ryzen 5000G. Use those integrated graphics. Hopefully next year you can just drop in a proper graphics card where you don't have to spend $300, $400 for 1080p gaming.
Sorry, the silence from my end is just looking at the reactions in chat to your argument.
We actually had a lot of people be like, "Oh, here it comes GeForce Now."
Yeah, that's what I expected almost.
Yeah,
GeForce Now 3080 tier is.
Well, but that's not out yet.
Oh, it's not out yet.
Mm-mm.
It is. It started rolling out to some early people this week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, let me go ahead. Continue.
I'll also nominate that later for something else. So.
See, I wanted to nominate that now because
yeah,
you can still do it.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to put it in there right now. GeForce Now 3080 class. And I feel like there's a valid argument for this. It's not cheap compared to the other GeForce Now options, but it's not $1,800. And you don't have to change any of your existing hardware to use it, and you can use it with one of those Apple M1 chips
and your phone.
I'm just saying, like it based on the way today is and the way everything in the market is. I know latency is going to come up. Somebody's going to bring up latency. I'm not going to recommend you play a Twitch shooter game on it. However, if you run that 5600G at 1080p and you try to crank the settings, it's going to run slow enough to where you're going to have enough latency on the system that it's going to be comparable to running it in the cloud. And I know a lot of people don't like to talk about that part, but it's there.
Yeah, no,
for
it's
me,
not a real 1080p.
I agree. RTX 3080 GFN was one of my shortlist candidates for this because, like I said, there's really no graphics card that's worth recommending this year. But to me, even though the thing with the RTX 3080 GFN thing, it's a very good Band-Aid if you need it, as is the Ryzen GPU, I think, or APU. The issue for me would be the limited game library support. Like, if you're looking to upgrade your hardware, you can run whatever you can run on the Ryzen 5000G. RTX 3080 GeForce Now supports like 70 free-to-play games and over 1,000 titles, many of the most popular ones. But there are a lot of games that don't run on it. So that's the thing that had me give the Ryzen chip the edge.
Yeah, it's a tough one because like there's a part of me that goes, maybe you've got now if you see, and I almost go if you've got something now and it's just not quite there, I would lean for one. But if I had nothing and I had to build something, then the 5600G is a better option. But even with the 56, see, and I'm gonna give Brad's a leg up because if you got the 5600G, you can still use GeForce Now.
That's funny. It's true.
Yeah.
It's not an or, it's an and.
Exactly. Also, I know where Gordon's going, but I want to throw this in here too. I don't know. I would say actually I did more cloud gaming on Xbox Game Pass this year than I did GeForce Now.
That's on a graphics card.
I mean.
It has
in the same way that the GeForce Now is, right?
It is.
You know. So
no. Xbox
Why?
Game Pass is the Xbox version of those games. That's very different. You can't play your PC games on Xbox Game Pass.
I mean, we're not talking about what games we're playing. We're just talking about best GPU
services.
Yeah. So
I get where you're coming from, and I agree it's a very good value proposition. But I would say that does not qualify, in my opinion, because
interesting.
It's that's Xbox, that's console gaming.
So you're certain those are the Xbox instances of the games?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, they are.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
They are.
So,
which is still great. They're great, but I don't know, not a PC GPU.
Elena, you got any input?
I see. You want to clear the decks before you you lay it on us. All right. Okay. That's fine. I'm willing to play along. So my pick is also the 5600G. That's right, folks. I went with the same choice for both CPU and GPU this year. I'm mostly quiet because there's just this part of me that's still gleeful that I broke Brad enough that he's even willing to consider voting for this after the experience in 2018.
Well, Andy gave it on the actual
face
and the actual PC world best of. He gave it the 5600G.
It hurts.
I know.
It hurts.
But apparently it didn't hurt so much that you forever shut it out as an option. So
I'm a reasonable guy, even when it hurts.
that's fair. So I actually did consider GeForce Now 3080 Ti tier as well, but I feel like given all the talks I've had this year with different friends who are looking to build a PC, and contrary to Gordon's assertion in the best CPU discussion, most of the people I'm talking to are not doing upgrades. They are building whole new PCs from scratch. So they keep asking me like, so what graphics card should I get? And I was like, how much do you want to pay for that? Like, how much extra do you want to pay for that? They're like, really? It's still bad? I'm like, oh yeah. Yep. And they're like, well, can I start with something else? Like, I want to have a PC. Like, I'm still doing other stuff on it. And I'm like, well, you can start with an APU. They're available. The motherboards for them are affordable. You can get a RAM pretty cheap for them. It's not that difficult or that expensive to build with an APU right now. And so this is nice because, I just saw somebody mention in chat, they're like, I've got 5 down and 5 up for my internet connection. I don't think GeForce Now is going to be the best solution for me. And so for people like that, or people who want to play more games than is available through the GeForce Now library, I just really think the APU is a great place to start because you can kind of have your cake and eat it too, as Keith pointed out.
Actually, yeah, that is a great, great thing.
Just to go on that point, I mentioned on previous shows before, my ex works at a school, and the kids, over the past 2 years since all this has happened, they've been very interested. They've been asking her to ask me, how do I get into PC gaming? I want to play Fortnite with my friends. I've got asked that 24 times probably over the last 2 years, whereas before I almost never got that question. My answer was just play it on your iPad. Get an iPad, play it on an iPad in the for most of 2020. But the 5600G and whatever the other one is, the 7 class, changes that. That makes it so all these kids who are looking to get into PC gaming can get into PC gaming now on the strength of their integrated graphics. And I think that's a very good thing for the kids and for PC gaming in general. So that was another factor for me nominating this.
Yep. And the nice thing about this is that hopefully when discrete GPU prices return to normal, then it's real easy just to pop one in and keep going.
Friend of the show, VC Jester, says Gordon is busy thinking about all the cinematic accomplishments that Ridley Scott has achieved. What are you actually really thinking, Gordon?
What I'm thinking is, I do want to re-welcome people to the full nerd. Let's just settle for whatever we can get awards, because that's what all of this discussion is about. GeForce Now is wonderful. I love it. It is not PC gaming. Playing on integrated graphics at 720p may be medium, and getting yourself smoked all day by people with higher spec rigs in Counter-Strike or other Twitch games is no fun. We are at that point where, I've said this before, and it's been going on now for 6 months, 12 months, PC gaming is now actually to the point where it's being damaged. And I will tell you, the position you walk yourself into where you are now happy to have a MacBook because this is the end. This is going down the road to the end of the PC. Stream gaming, integrated graphics at 720p with high latency is not what the PC is about. It is not what PC gaming is about. It is about 360 hertz panels. It's about high res. It's about super low latency gaming. It is about textures so crisp your eyes hurt. And you know what? For that, I would recommend, I'm now going to formally nominate the GeForce RTX 3080 Ti, because for $1,200, if I could get one today, I would buy it. And I'm not going to listen to all those people say, don't pre-order it. This is a terrible deal. If you can get a 3080 Ti for list price, you best buy it right now. And I'll tell you, the PC needs to continue to move forward to stay ahead. If we are just going to stop, put it neutral, and sit around while everybody improves, while Google Stadia improves, where stream gaming takes off, where ARM-based gaming on Mac OS gets better. That is the end times, folks. That is the end times. And that is not the best product. We should be promoting the best things. If you can get a 3080 Ti, and you got to be patient, I would say buy it. And that's my pitch for the best. I know I'm not going to win. People are going to recommend 720p gaming at maybe medium to low quality, getting smoked in Counter-Strike as a way to play PC games. I don't think that's a way to do it. I would rather be with Brad and play games on an iPad, which is frankly bad for the PC. It's bad for PC gaming. It's bad for the PC. You move forward to win. You don't just throw it neutral and wait for everybody to pass you up and kick you in the butt as they go by. Mm-hmm. That's just nowhere to go.
Well, here's the thing, though, Gordon. We're talking about the best of 2021, which means we are somewhat bound by the context of the year 2021. The second point also is the 3080 Ti. What is it moving forward per se? Because it's not new architecture. It is,
it's 3090 performance for $1,200.
If you could get one, which goes back to point one, which is we are living in 2021.
And you can get them. You can get them. People can get 3080 Ti's, right? It's hard. It takes a lot of work. But
is that really moving the PC forward, though? Like, all of our kind of joking arguments aside, where we're just kind of arguing to have fun, like, is that really moving the PC forward, though, if it's turning people away from the whole idea of PCs? Like right now, there's so many people in chat saying, like, I got a console, or I downgrade. There was one person who literally said that they downgraded from a 1080 Ti to an APU. I'm like, I want to ask more about that. There's no time. I'm doing a live show right now.
You can sell that thing.
They're taking up.
Right. But I mean, I don't feel like that's moving the PC forward if the disappointment is turning people away. Like getting stuff in people's hands is really important, honestly.
Holy smokes, Elena, I just got a 3080 Ti offer. Should I buy it right now?
Yes, and then flip
only if it's 1,200.
Yeah.
I actually, before we move on, I want to strenuously disagree with something that Gordon said. It might be kind of weird as a person who tests all these high-end graphics cards. I'm running two 4K monitors, HDR, all that jazz. I love high-end PC gaming, but to me, that's not what PC gaming is. That's not the heart of it. I believe Keith agrees, because I believe your pinned tweet is something along these lines. PC gaming is about accessibility and doing what you want with your stuff. I don't dump on people who game on a Ryzen 5000G. All these kids who want to get into PC gaming, they have no options to get the 3080 Ti. They have no options to even really realistically get the 6600, the Radeon 6600. To me, the beauty of PC gaming is being able to play on what you can afford, having the flexibility of playing all these games, this wide ecosystem of games, playing on gamepads, on controllers, on whatever you want. The Ryzen 5000G enables that, and it's actually getting PC gaming into people's hands, unlike all these graphics cards you can't buy. And usually I agree with you. I think something that pushes everything forward should be the winner on these. I was just arguing for that with the CPUs. But this year, I just really think Ryzen 5000G is the way to go. Every one of my graphics card reviews this year has ended on nobody should be buying a graphics card right now.
Yeah, and it's just terrible. It's a terrible situation. But
yeah, it sucks.
People are getting them. I think people are getting them, clearly. I've talked to people who have gotten them at the MSRP price, right? You sign up for the list. It takes time. It's waiting in line. It's like anything in high demand. You can get them, though. I just feel we can't just simply settle into this settle thing, because if we're doing this in 2022 where it's like, yeah, it's stream service or IGP is our pick for best GPU of the year, we need to start making plans for an exit because we need to take that off ramp.
I would also argue that the 30 series doesn't tangibly advance PC gaming in any way. Like last year, I voted for the 2080 Ti or something like that because ray tracing and DLSS move things forward. There's a reason, even on a year where it's hard to get graphics cards, like that's good. That's great. That's something to celebrate. This year, I think the 3080 series is a little bit faster for a lot more money. So there's no price to performance increase, and there's no underlying technological advancements that would make me fly that flag over a part that people can actually buy for affordable prices in 2021.
I do want to get to a couple super chats real quick because they were piling up. Brian Goodman gave us $10, said, Fortnite is what's wrong with the world. VC Chester, friend of the show, gave us $5, said, technically, Gordon, if you want 1080p 300 FPS, you want a 6900 XT. Read Brad's review.
Correct.
And Mac Drew 421 gave us $5. Thank you. Said, I agree with Gordon. The maximum PC mindset never left him. 5950X and the RTX 3080 were the best products of the year, in their opinion.
Well, 5900 was
Of 20.
Of 20, yes. Yeah, definitely. No, and it's just, I'm just, this is not good. This is really grim. This is horribly grim. And this does not paint a good path forward for PC gaming, PCs, period. IGP is, it is an ends to a means, but I don't think it, if you sit somebody down on an Xbox and they then sit down and play IGP gaming, I'm afraid you're going to lose somebody to consoles. You're going to lose them to other things, or even streaming. It's better than nothing, but sometimes I feel like we gotta keep pushing forward. You know,
you said ends to the means, and I think that is really the story of 2021 when it comes to graphics cards.
I just feel it's wrong to reward that, and because it's sort of like saying, yeah, we can settle for this. Then next year it's like, yeah, you were happy with it last year. You know.
Well, I mean, if you look at the 6600 XT, if it launched at the same price as the 5600 XT did, that would have been a killer graphics card. Same thing with the 3080 Ti versus 2080 Ti. But that's the thing, they're barely moving forward. Like they are a bit faster, yes, but they're $100 more at MSRP. That's before the AIB tax on $100 to $200 for their custom versions, of which they're only selling the high end ones. And then the retailers add their tax, and then people buy those, and you buy them for even higher on eBay. Like, it's just realistically, a lot of people are not going to be buying these, and I don't think we can reward any graphics card this year, be it the fault of NVIDIA and AMD, or be it the fault of logistics or some mixture of all that. Can't recommend graphics cards right now.
I see that's my problem, because the 3080 Ti is the symbol of what I've picked. Clearly 6900, 6600, 3070 Ti. Basically what I'm saying is high performance gaming is what makes the PC great, is what keeps us ahead of everybody else. And if we're basically saying we're going to go for the opposite of high performance gaming, now if we could get IGP to where, like, damn, this is, hey, I've got sort of like an Intel or AMD version of the M1X with all that, massive memory bandwidth, right? That would be different when we get there. Right now, I just feel like we got to keep our eye on high performance gaming, and GPUs do that right now. I just feel like you get off that. I disagree that high performance gaming is the pinnacle. I agree it pushes everything forward, but these Ryzen chips are giving you Xbox, not the Series X, but the last gen, the Xbox One class console quality gaming on a chip that also lets you build a whole computer with a CPU and a GPU for $250, $300. Like, that is advancing. Yes, it's on the lower end, but that is advancing the cause. It's settling.
It's not settling. It's such a broad spectrum that we're trying to move here, Gordon.
Let me give you I'm going to give you an example from the ancient old days. There was this thing that Intel started making. It was called integrated graphics, and basically, during the heyday of Intel integrated graphics, where basically most Americans would buy a desktop PC with nothing but integrated graphics, there would be no GPU here. Asia, Europe, they always bought GPUs. That was the darkest days for PC gaming. And basically it was like, because your monitor would run, but your games wouldn't run. But people could not understand why is the gaming so bad? Why is it so ugly? Well, it's because you've got integrated graphics, but the monitor runs. That's settling for? Well, it does run. It looks horrible. I mean, the texture looks like a water paint, but it was a really, really dark time for us. And when you when you aim for the highest, and your highest is making it to everybody, the lowest everybody can afford, that brought us to nearly the end. That was nearly the end of PC gaming. So I'm just saying, that's why I would always pick shoot for the moon. So
Gordon is saying that he has PTSD.
No, because it's just like this. The reason why Ryzen 5000 is so kick-ass? It's because AMD says, we are going to shoot for the moon. We are going to clean Intel's clock. And they did it.
That's what they're doing with the integrated graphics here.
Yeah,
but gaming accessible to people.
When AMD did that with we're going to make ARM parts for servers, it's like, this isn't going nowhere, right? I mean, I'm just saying this is the same thing. It is what it is, but I just don't think it would fit in my definition of best. So, but that's fine. I've said my piece. I've already lost. I know I've lost. I just want to advocate for high performance, low latency, high resolution, everything that we have come to expect of PC gaming.
There. Keith, you were going to say something. Sorry. We kept cutting you off.
Oh, no, I was just going to mention, at least with the 5600G, and I know at one point it came up that it costs more than the one that it replaced. However, it does have 50% more cores than the last generation. It does run much faster. It did increase the speeds and the bandwidth, all the things, like it improved across for what integrated does. Yeah, I mean, I'm with Gordon. I understand that. There's the sentiment. I want to say, yeah, the 3080 Ti or the 6900 XT, but the reality is, you get in line.
Also, we just got a $2 super chat from Dark Helmet. Thank you, friend of the show. Said, joined late. How about mobile GPUs?
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much green only, right, at this point. So I guess you could say a 3080 laptop GPU if you wanted to. And they've been far easier to find. I would say AMD it's a really good part. It's just really hard to find. It's just there's just not that very many of them.
Wait, really hard to find like a 3080 Ti?
No, mobile parts. It might be as hard. It may be easier to get a 3080 Ti than it is to get a AMD graphics in a laptop. I haven't really looked in the last couple months, but it's like they came out in a few laptops, and they're just. If you can get it, it's a good part, but it is hard to find. It is NVIDIA's world in laptops, so 30 series if you want to say. So, and you can get those generally. Far easier to get. Costs you money though.
I just want to point out that I think Brad has a hard out, and we've got 6 more categories to go.
Oh, right.
Probably should get moving.
I think the next ones are less controversial.
Yeah. These are the big ones. I mean, it was funny. Earlier, there was back-to-back chats that I think exemplifies this. VC Jester, friend of the show, said, hooking people into the gaming ecosystem will do far more for PC gaming than the highest performing parts, which I actually agree with. But then literally the next chat after that is Sam GH, friend of the show, said, but I should say that I agree with Elena Yee. I've literally bought Xbox Series X because of the current GPU state. So both are true. The GPU is turning people away from PC gaming, but the 5600G hopefully is bringing more entry-level people in. So, oh god,
gotta start them somewhere.
Yeah,
a little bit of churn.
Well, it's already
cheaper.
3 versus 1, so it doesn't really. At this point, it's just simple.
Okay.
You can look cool at them.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm the right one.
5600G. Yeah, I think that's the one. Is that what we're gonna go with?
Well, I guess so, because Keith originally was GeForce Now. I don't know if he changed his vote. So
Yeah, I can vote. It won't change anything, but I'm gonna hold for it on my GeForce Now.
so that means you're the tiebreaker, Adam.
Yeah, 5600G. Yeah, I can't. Yeah, it's. I mean, not that it's great. I'm not like sitting here being like, oh yeah, hell yeah, 5600G. It's more just like, yeah, okay.
I don't know. I'm a little hell yeah.
Okay.
FSR works on it.
Yeah.
I'm also with Gordon to some respect, and this, you guys have no idea how much this pains me having this discussion.
That's part of the reason why I went for the GeForce Now 3080. Like you get the ray tracing, you get the features, you get all of that. There's a holdback. There is the latency issue. I get it, but for me, it's kind of a trade-off that I would make. I've used it on my laptop, and even on Wi-Fi, it's pretty cool. I would rather play games on my laptop using it than using the 1650 that's in my laptop.
There you go.
Yep.
So,
yep. No, I agree, but yeah, I think I'm gonna go with 5600G. So I'm putting it up on the board. The 2021 Nerdy for best GPU goes to the AMD Ryzen 5 5600G. Did I spell that right? Yeah.
Yes.
Ryzen 5.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Looking good.
Sweet. Then the next one is a fun one. Let's get to cases. Yeah. So I don't know the full list. It's not going to be comprehensive. I think it's just more like, hey, what cases did we see this year that we thought were fun? So best is, subjective here, like everything else. But
yep.
Any cases anyone wants to throw out?
Well, I feel like this is my beat, so I probably should start this off. Admittedly, I didn't see as many cases as I wanted to this year. And even given that, I still had a hard time choosing. But I went with the ATX choice as opposed to mini ITX because I feel it's a little more accessible, but I'll still mention the mini ITX after as my runner-up. And my choice would be the Montech X3 Mesh. It is a decent airflow case, but more importantly, it is a highly affordable case in that it is $70. And I checked last night, it's still about $70. And I think it's even on sale on Newegg for $64 right now. And the reason why this is such a big deal, I'm talking about price, is because this case comes with literally 6 RGB fans. Like you basically are buying the RGB fans and getting a case thrown in for free. Like that is how insane the value is on this case. So you get your prettiness, you get your airflow, and you get a pretty easy build because it's a standard mid-tower case. And so that's why it's my pick for best case. I will say, though, I want to give a shout out to the Meshlicious, which is a mini ITX case, 14-liter case. So it's not super small, but it's fairly compact, still smaller than Cooler Master's NR200. And that one is like 110, which is pretty good for that compact of a case in the whole, small form factor case area. And more importantly, this case not only has mesh, so you get the airflow thing that everyone loves, but it accommodates full ATX power supplies. And so that's kind of a neat feature. So if you're looking to do a more special build or like a compact build, I like the Meshlicious as a choice, but as a general pick as best case overall for the year, it's hard to beat the value of the Montech. You get the aesthetics and the performance.
See, I thought you were going to bring up the Lianli O11D Mini, whatever that new one was.
I think the O11D line in general is very popular. They're good-looking cases. They're popular for a reason. You can really build some nice showpieces with them. But I don't think they're necessarily the most practical. I think for if you follow the channel, I'm very like, it's for the people. Like how many people can we reach with this? Like, does this make it easier to get into PC building? And I think when you spend like $120 to $130 for a beautiful case, that's great. But if most people are on a budget, So if you can get looks and performance and afford that and still be able to put money towards upgrades elsewhere in the build, I'm all for that.
Those look very nice.
Move up from a Ryzen 5 5600G to a Ryzen 7 5700G.
Yeah, exactly, right?
I'm easy, so I'm just gonna go. This is the first time in a decade I don't think I've actually touched a new case this year, which is super weird. It's 2021, continuing to be weird. I was going all through Elena stuff and some other reviews, and I had picked the Lian Li 11D Air MIDI, just because that looks pretty cool. But I 100% defer to Elena, so what she said, I say.
Sweet.
Gordon, Keith.
I defer to Elena because I honestly have not seen the amount of
what
cases.
I want.
Yeah, I mean, I do disagree sometimes. I think you have it. There's really a lot of people out there who it's about looks first and it's about RGB first. So the cost that they may actually pay more for it for the looks and the RGB. So, but the fact that you're getting all those RGB fans is pretty good. So.
Somebody's asking, does it come with a hub? Do we know?
Trying to remember.
I doubt it at that
I don't
price.
think so.
Also, talking about looks and one that's probably selling the most, the H510 Flow, the new H510 with a mesh front, right?
Even the older one.
The H510 is Flow is such a sad story for me because that is a very decent case. I think it's like I even said in our video, like I think it's a good beginner case for a lot of people. But I felt like, and this is not entirely fair to NZXT, but I felt like I couldn't nominate it because it got hit so hard by the shipping issues. So originally that case was supposed to come out at $75 MSRP, and they had to inflate it up to 110, and that is purely because of logistics right now. And it's not their fault, right? Like that's just kind of the state of the world. But unfortunately, we put it up against other cases that aren't suffering from that currently because they managed to get it to the US or wherever sooner. And it's just, as a consumer, it's hard, like I do want to acknowledge that it's a good thing they came out with that case. I think it's good that they expanded their options for people so that you can quiet all the internet commenters that are like, oh my God, you're going to kill your PC because that doesn't have a mesh front. So, but it kind of 2021 is what it is, right?
Keith, you got anything you want to shout out?
I do. This was actually kind of hard. There's a lot of good cases that came out this year, but to go against the way I've been going so far and go full Gordon on here, I'm going to throw out the Fractal Design Torrent.
Yep.
I was just about to bring that one up too. Yeah,
because that
looks pretty cool.
That case caught me off guard. I was all about the O11 Air Mini. And then I saw this thing and suddenly I cared about big cases again because it looks like a wind tunnel in all the right ways.
It's a good design. I like that front. I've always liked Fractal design. It's appealed to me.
Well, they did that. They've switched things up. So this is why this case got my attention more than most anything else this year. It does have the dual chamber design going on, but the power supply is back at the top. And they were able to have intake at the bottom and the front, and the back is this delightful mesh all the way through. There's no like solid parts in the back of the case, so air is able to just jet out of it and not soak anywhere. But the power supply is now in a little cradle at the top, and it's away from everything without it being at the front. So Cooler Master did the CM600 a couple of years ago, where it had the bottom to top airflow, but the power supply went to the front, and it kind of messed with this flow pattern where your graphics card turns into this big wall to your CPU, and that doesn't happen with this case. So I do like the case that Elena pointed out. The Montec's a fairly newer name brand, and they're doing some really good work. And I've had my hands on one of their cases. It's a smaller one, but it was very well built, and I have no problem with the pricing. But out of what I've seen this year, the Fractal Design Torrent yeah.
So I have a question for you though, Keith. Like, you actually like that top mounted position? Because I find that it really changes the balance of the weight in a PC unless you're filling it with a ton of stuff,
Yes. It doesn't make it perfect. I just like that it's. So take the 510, the mesh. It felt like so repetitive, so like the same design over and over with a few little things. This looked like somebody went into a room and said, "Don't come out until you made something that doesn't look like what's already out there."
Okay.
And
I like the idea of power supplies on the top anyway, just because that's the way airflow tends to go in a case. And having it on the bottom, that just means you're putting your PSU air, unless you vent it out the bottom, but even still, some will come up into your CPU and GPU. So having it on the top, I think is win-win.
so it's had, like I said, it's had me since they announced it, and I was like, okay, I want one. I haven't bought it. My nice little quiet case is doing me fine, but this will be my next case.
I think I'm a little biased because I saw the case. I liked what I saw, but I live in an area with not a lot of room. So I mean, you got to have some
That's
real
fair.
estate at home for a case of that size, you know.
Also, it cost $190. So
Gordon, hush. You don't care about cost.
Yeah, I thought
I mean,
pushing
I've learned.
pushing the PC forward. Most
learned.
expensive thing.
I've learned here it's whatever's lowest cost. So low bid is like we're doing a government contract here. It's $5 less. Give it to me.
I do want to shout out. I feel like this is the year that I every year I get a little more interested in smaller cases. And being like, oh, this is interesting. I'm curious to see it. Obviously, I'm building one next week, so I don't want to tip my hand to anything. But I think the two that I saw a lot of excitement for was the NR200P Max, so a bigger version of the NR200P, and then the Lian Li Q58 with the interesting like door design, which is kind of cool. So yeah, I feel like there's a lot of good small cases. It was funny.
Yeah, there's some cool cases for sure.
There are.
Yeah, and Gordon came in. He saw a box for a small case, and he's like, I don't get it. I just why do people like small cases? But I feel like I'm starting to look and and be like, oh, you know what? I almost kind of like it as like a little puzzle. I've built in enough normal size cases. I'm like, okay, maybe it's time for me to step up my game and try fitting stuff
They're
into a
fine.
smaller case.
They're a pain.
I mean, and then you get to watch me do it on stream and crash and burn.
It'll be fine.
But yeah, actually, the other one I came in here, and there were some people in chat who had mentioned it was the Fractal Design Torrent. I mean, I like the Montech. I like what you're going for with that for sure. But yeah, I mean, if that Fractal Design Torrent is a really cool, and like I said, Fractal Design is always I've always preferred them. But yeah, so I mean, honestly, I think. Yeah, there's probably nothing too crazy here.
So what are you voting for?
I'm fine to go with the Montech, honestly. Like, just because I like Elena's opinion on it, and I mean she is the expert. So,
Well, I like the fact that the Fractal has better airflow. So I think I'm going to vote for that now.
oh, so now you're switching your vote.
I still
I'll
have a
stick with
majority.
Elena's. I'll stick with
I still have a
Elena's.
majority.
Well, either one of these I'd be fine with. I defer to the case expert.
Okay, all right. I mean, it's cool cases. A lot of cool cases
A lot
out
of
there
cool
for
cases
sure.
right
Yeah.
now.
So it's fun. It has the supply and availability been a problem? Oh, I guess you said the
For the
NZXT
Montech, no.
one.
For the NZXT one, that's been affected definitely by shipping issues. For the Montech, I actually checked with them and I was like, hey, I know like shipping's kind of an issue. Are you guys going to be raising the price on this? Because I would expect it a yes. And they're like, no, we don't plan to raise the price on that. I was like, oh, really?
Oh, nice.
Nice. What was the model number on the Montech? I'm sorry, I had
X3 mesh.
X3 mesh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I'm gonna punch this into my chart so we can keep going. Oh crap! Well, hit the wrong button. Oh no.
Well, while you're doing that, I guess we can move on to best accessory.
Oh, that's easy.
You want to start it off then?
I always vote for the latest of the Xbox Series controllers. They're very comfortable. They work really well with within Microsoft Windows operating systems. And I don't know what else came out this year.
90. There we go. Okay. Well,
Did you buy that new one that just came out then?
This one?
There was a
When
new
did it come
controller.
out?
It was like is it like the Forza specific one? I forgot. It was like supposed to be tailored to a game or something.
Oh no, this is the universal one. It works for. It's tailored for all games.
No, I know. But
No,
since you're
just-
saying that you were going with whatever version came out that year, I wasn't sure.
Oh,
if you
yeah.
meant that.
No, the actual series version of the controller. Because
Like okay, the
honestly,
controller.
yeah, it's one of those things. Like you look at it in pictures, and you're like, oh, it's just the new one, and then you use it, and you're like, oh, they did make some changes. Oh, this is very comfortable. I like these new shoes. I'm going for a run, kind of thing.
Okay, I fixed the graphic. I'm going to flash it up real quick. The 2021 Nerdy of PC case goes to the Montech X3 Mesh. I think I spelled it right. So congratulations, Montech, a new player in the game. I'll have to check that out. But yeah, back to accessories. So controller over from Keith. What else we got?
Well, I think when I think accessory, I think peripherals. So I'm not sure if my pick will really fit in.
Yeah.
That's an
But
accessory.
I didn't pick
Epic Game Store.
peripherals. I found nowhere else to put this. I wanted to nominate Corsair's MP600 Pro XT SSD. This is the year we're starting to see the new Phison controllers come out, and they are ridiculously fast. The MP600 Pro XT in particular is about just as fast as the I forget the name. The
980 Pro.
the Fire CUDA. It's faster than the 980
530?
Pro. Yeah, the
Fire-
Fire CUDA 530 is top of the line, but it costs like it. The Corsair MP600 Pro XT is just a hair behind, way faster than your standard PCIe 4 SSDs at this point. Blazing fast speeds, good price to performance for a high-end thing like this. We're finally starting to see PCIe 4 stretch its leg. And to throw it over the top, you could spend an extra $25 to get one that has integrated water cooling plumbing built in, which I just think is dope. So for me, I'm going to pick an SSD. I'm not sure if it fits, but I couldn't find anywhere else to mention it.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I think it fits here.
I can second that. Those Phison controllers are really impressive, apparently. So, way to go, because the original ones were first gen, and these are pretty smoking. So I can second that one.
Now they're fast, and the price is nice. That one slipped past me. Can I change my vote? I need a bigger
You sure can.
SSD. I've only got a 1 terabyte in mine. I would like to have the bigger ones. And Yeah.
Gordon, you got one?
No, I'm with Brad on that. I was gonna pick something like I have a horrible chair at home. I sit on like pillows to make my back not hurt. I kind of like that new Razer chair that they've benchmark asses to make sure it's comfortable for you. And I really like, the fact that they put that kind of research into it. Maybe it might actually be a comfortable gaming chair, because most of the gaming chairs are, So I would definitely take a super fast Gen 4 SSD over comfort from my butt, I guess. But even though it is really,
Priorities.
really attractive to get like a comfortable chair, possibly.
Nice benchmark assets. I like it. I'm gonna throw one in there. I think every year I always bring an audio pick because I'm the audio guy. But I've been testing, and I need to. Yeah, I got a video planned coming up, hopefully in the next couple weeks. The Creative Sound Blaster Katana V2. A sound bar for your PC. The Katana V1 was very, very well liked, very well respected, and the V2 steps it up in every way. Actually, if you want a good video to watch now, Hardware Canucks has a video up for the Katana V2. It's as somebody who likes high-end gear, likes Super X-Fi, likes good audio, it's kind of cool. I mostly work and game with headphones. So I was like, okay, well, as long as that doesn't get hurt by having a sound bar, and it doesn't. I mean, the DACs are awesome. You get RGB lighting across the bottom, and in a pinch, if I need to turn on the mics or the speakers, and then I get really good speaker quality. But man, is it loud! It like at 25%, that thing is just like earth shaking. I'm just like, all right, guys.
Nice.
Well, when I talked to him, I was like, this is probably too loud. Is there a way to tune it down? I feel like I'm always like hovering between 1 and 5. I'm like, could you give me a little bit more at the bottom range? But yeah, so my pick is that. So we got it all over the place. I don't know how we pick how we vote for this one.
I feel like there's 3 in alignment though already.
Yeah, 3 on the MP600
So
XT.
at this point, you and me, like me and you, Adam, we're just expressing our our desires here.
Well, step up your
hope
audio
for
game. You can't
fulfillment.
get a GPU right now, so step up your audio game. I know you want to. So what? Corsair MP600 what?
XT.
MP600 Pro XT.
Yeah.
Pro
Yeah.
XT. Wow. Okay.
Well,
Big name.
if you're ready calling it, I'll just insert my opinion as you do that.
Please do
Which
it.
was originally, so for some reason in my vacation haze, I was like, PC accessory, does this mean for PC building? So I limited myself specifically to PC building. And I was like, what's the flashiest thing out there? And I was like, oh crap. The Unifan Infinity version isn't out yet because that's the one that I'm waiting for. The one with the mirrors. Oh, I can't come soon enough. That's probably, spoiler, it's probably going to be my 2022 pick. So I was going to default to just the AL version that they came out with this year, since that's a little more RGB. But Corbin, shout out to friend of the show Corbin in Twitch, he's like, they're like, you know what the best accessory for PC, the PC this year is? A handkerchief to dry your tears. And I'm like, yeah, that's pretty
You
good.
get the Google or I'm sorry, not the Google, the Apple towel, little hand towel.
God, the polishing cloth.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. If we're okay to move on, then I'm going to flash up the winner of the 2021 Nerdy for best accessory is the Corsair MP600 Pro XT. You got to upgrade your SSD. You just got to upgrade your SSD. So yeah,
Oh,
good on them. Also, yeah.
that's super chat.
Oh,
That's a
super
missed
chat.
opportunity
Oh,
for us.
Oh crap! PC World mousepad. Actually, I use mine. It's from the old shop. We don't really sell that anymore. But, oh crap! Yeah, PC World
Right?
merch. Ah,
Right?
dang it!
It's a missed opportunity.
Oh man. It could have been the polo. The polo was really well liked.
Yeah, the polo was actually pretty
man.
sweet.
You know what would
Actually-
really be
actu-
good though, Adam?
What?
Mid-roll.
Oh yes, yeah, yeah. You know what? Oh my goodness, I keep forgetting. Yeah, what's really good is security on your PC. It doesn't matter if you get a 5600G, a RTX 3080 Ti. You need to keep it safe. You need to have cybersecurity features on your PC, and you can get that with Avast One. Definitely go over to avast.com. See what they've got over there. A free version has free antivirus, free VPN for connected to public Wi-Fi networks, and free firewall protection. But if you want to step it up, you want to step up your security game, check out the premium version that is even more advanced protection. So yeah, go learn from where that over there. Wow, that ad read is a little late, but I will say just a quick little teaser before we move on for an accessory. It's not out yet, so I couldn't nominate it. But guess what? There's going to be Full Nerd ugly sweaters for Christmas. Yep. Yep. So keep your eye out for that one. Anyway,
Can't wait to horrify my friend.
so let's move on to the laptop. Gordon, I think we're going to default to you for best laptop because you're the main laptop guy.
This year was kind of crazy because we saw Ryzen 5000 mobile, which awesome parts. We saw both UNH on Ryzen 5000. Really good parts. You know, this is more of performance oriented crowd though. So looking at, you know, unlike desktop where they can wait 3 years, Intel immediately came out with Tiger Lake H. Tiger Lake H is overall I think better. And then I was looking for, God, I'm really torn because I clearly one of the fastest laptops this year that we saw was the MSI GE76 Raider. It's got all the RGB, which is what makes it so much faster than everything. But it's got Tiger Lake H. It's got 3080 at 165 watt TGP. And in fact, Apple, it's one of the laptops that Apple has said, look, we're not as fast as this MSI GE76 Raider, but you know, they use more power and they're louder. But to me, a lot of people who only care about performance, they actually have Apple come out and admit that they're actually slower than the GE76 Raider. Makes it my pick. It's kind of a gimme in a lot of ways. I mean, you're looking at a 17.3 inch, 360 hertz laptop with top end CPU, top end GPU. It's not cheap. It's big. It's fast. It's loud. I really do want to give a shout out though to the other laptop though, the Asus Flow X13, which I thought was just kind of one of the coolest concepts. First, it came out with the Ryzen 9 HS part, so 35 watt, an H class almost CPU. But then, and it had GTX 1650 on board, and it's a convertible 2-in-1 laptop. But if you want to get your game on, or you need a big fat RTX GPU, there was also an optional GeForce RTX 3080 external dock running over a dedicated PCIe Gen. It had all 8 lanes of PCIe for the external graphics. So it was as a concept amazing, pretty cool for people who kind of don't want to bring their fat GPU with them all the time. But I think as a practical matter, for a lot of people who are going to buy a laptop primarily for gaming, maybe some content creation as well, it's going to be really hard to beat that GE76 Raider.
Well, we got some people in the chat. What about the new M1 MacBook Pro?
Well, I was gonna say that isn't the Raider the laptop that Apple specifically chose to go against?
Yeah,
there's a reason for that. Enough said.
Yeah, they were saying, hey, look, we're not as fast as the Raider. I actually really thought about it. Should we give a shout out to Apple, because again, what they've done with the M1 Max is pretty awesome. It's a really good part. It did not end all Intel and AMD parts and NVIDIA parts. It did not. As much as the hype machine was going there and all the chest puffing on Twitter, it's not there. For what it is, it's amazing. For what people want, which is gaming, for a lot of PC people, there's a big gaming component. There's a big content creation component. There's a big ass Windows component. So that's just not going to work. I will tell you, if you want the very best Mac, buy the MacBook Pro. If you want the very best PC, you're going to buy a PC laptop running Windows, like the GE76 Raider or the Flow X13. It's just no contest, frankly. I don't know. People believe what you want to believe. You have fun on Mac Island. Have fun on it. That's all I got to say.
All right. Any other nominations for laptop?
I had a couple that
please
I wanted to nominate, but I agree with Gordon. That's a very good pick. I wanted to shout out the Asus ROG Strix G15 Advantage Edition. I think what AMD is doing with its mobile parts are great. It's a shame, as Gordon mentioned earlier, you can't find them in a lot of laptops. Like, it's actually hard to find them, because what they're doing with the Advantage Edition, policies, whatever you want to call it, initiative, actually tangibly works towards fixing a lot of issues people have with their laptops. Like, you got to have a nice screen. You got to have keyboard that doesn't get too hot under the WASD keys, even under full load. I think things like that should be celebrated. And the parts inside of it kick butt. So that's the reason I wanted to bring that up. I also just wanted to quickly bring up, I don't think it should win, but I want to give a shout out to the Framework laptop. I'm a big believer in repairability.
Somebody just said that in the chat.
And Framework is definitely advancing that cause, and shout out to them. I don't think it should win best laptop, but I think it deserves to be mentioned.
Definitely.
Yep.
All right. Sweet. My pick was what Gordon had mentioned earlier, the Asus one with the proprietary external RTX 3080.
Yeah.
I like eGPUs. I like messing with them, but they've never been the best thing for performance. So that thing is a way around it. I like that idea, but I don't think it's gonna win. Keith, Elena,
I'm with Gordon. I looked over his stuff on that laptop, and it's pretty awesome. It definitely smokes my little Zephyrus G14.
I think the fact that the Apple picked that to compare against says enough, in my opinion.
Yeah, and the fact that you're actually admitting it's not faster, but efficiency is one thing, but raw performance, they even admit it. Like, no way.
Anything you wanted to shout out, Elena?
No, actually, literally my two nominations were, first up was the MSI Raider, and then second was MacBook Pro 16 with Apple M1 Max. Just kidding. That's literally what it says.
JK. I like that. Okay, then I think that was another easy one. Look at that. We're just blowing through these. I'm gonna flash it up right now. The 2021 Nerdy for the best PC laptop is the MSI G76 Raider. The awesome laptop, super cool looking. I dig it. So all right, this is always an interesting one. PC game, best PC game of the year. It's World of Warships. Does that hang?
I still play it. I was playing it last night.
Yeah.
They just updated their water physics.
Oh.
Yeah.
Really? Oh, fancy. I like it.
No, nobody wants to give the award to the New World.
I was gonna see who's gonna actually nominate it.
Man.
Seriously.
Jeez. Yeah.
I got my vote though.
Yeah. Go for it. Yeah.
Resident Evil Village.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Somebody just at the end just said that.
Oh, well, I can give a reason for it. So reason for Resident Evil Village, it took the new formula for the series, improved on it, made a very good game, but injected all of the modern technologies for PCs into it. So you've got image upscaling, you've got, that was a later update, but it's there, and you've got ray tracing effects throughout the game. It is a next gen title for the modern PC. And a personal note is I judge how good a game is by whether I've played it after I finish the campaign, and the fact that I've played that game 4.5 times through.
All right.
Dang.
And did all the mercenary modes, and I still go back and play it. So
Nice.
All right.
Do you mind if I hop in here
Please,
next? 'Cause I
please.
might actually have to jump off in a minute. Sorry, everybody. The audience can be the correct deciding vote yet again. Resident Evil Village is great. I think it was also a really good year for indie games. Like Loop Hero came out this year, Inscription just came out, those kinds of things. There's been a bunch of those, and they're all great. But for me, my favorite pick, even though it's, I think, only technically available to other people recently, but I've been playing Forza Horizon 5 the last few days.
Ooh.
And let me tell you, I am such a fan of Forza Horizon. Like the series, it's hands down by far the best arcade racer, and I really get into that. Something I love about Forza Horizon 5, like this is just as bombastic. It kicks you off, throwing you out of airplane, and you pick crazy supercars and stuff right out of the bat. This is like, it's always bombastic. This is the best version yet.
And it's beautiful.
It's beautiful. It scales across all kinds of hardware. It runs awesome on my 4K screens. It runs awesome on even last gen Xboxes, if you get it that way. It runs awesome on low end hardware. Like anyone can play it. It's wonderful. It's also available on Xbox Game Pass, which I think is the best deal in PC gaming. So if you subscribe to that, you could be playing that for not quite free, but your $10 a month subscription fee, which again is just crazy. This is, to me, probably the best game of the year. I love Forza Horizon 5. I'm going to be playing this nonstop with my kids for a long time.
Nice. Elena, you got one?
Very good point.
So
Halo's not out yet, so we can't vote for it.
Yeah. So honestly, like I haven't been real. Honestly, I've been spending this year playing through my backlog, so I haven't been paying attention to new releases. So take that for what it is. I was originally gonna say Lawn Mowing Simulator as a joke, but
Actually, Power Washing Simulator is a good one.
and then I haven't played Psychonauts 2 yet, but I have a feeling that would be a contender if it was actually something I'd played. So I don't actually have a horse in this race this year because I don't feel like I've played enough to actually give that a fair shake.
Well, one that was near and dear to my heart was The Medium. I'm not going to say it's a perfect game, and definitely launched with some problems, technical problems. But yeah, I mean that's a game right up my alley. So that's probably my personal favorite one, but I'm not going to nominate it here. Resident Evil Village is definitely one up there, but I haven't finished it. There's so many damn games. But the one that I want to throw out is one that I've actually played with some people on our Discord, and it's Chivalry 2. When you have a dedicated button to just running and yelling, oh man, it is every time it just puts a big smile on my face. I'm surprised, Gordon. I really want you to try this. I feel like just a massive, multiplayer game where you're just running in with swords and axes and and literally just hitting the button to just yell. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't hype you up. It doesn't make you run faster. It doesn't make you swing better. It literally is just a yell button, just like ah. Oh, it is so fun, and it's been fun to play with people in our Discord, teaming up. So yeah, that's my vote.
I got to get going, but
Okay.
I would vote for you. I mean, I like Forza Horizon 5 better, but Chivalry 2 100% if it comes down to that.
It feels like a PC game.
Yeah, I love it. And it's just, it's so much fun. I forgot, because Chivalry's
so
been
dumb
around
fun.
forever. I forgot that Chivalry 2 came out this year. That game is wonderful. It's just joy.
Ruru 2 has it right. It's a yelling simulator.
All right. I do have to go.
All right.
So
Thank you,
sorry
Brad.
about that, everybody. I will talk to you guys later.
No worries. And everyone, hold on the visual front. We're gonna break the grid here. I gotta fix it.
Oh, no. Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Thank you, Brad.
We could put a test pattern up.
No worries.
Well, it sounds like, we got Chivalry 2 for Chivalry.
Yeah, I like Chivalry 2 a lot. It
I mean,
feels like
you can use my vote as a wild card, and you can just throw it into Chivalry 2 if you want.
Okay.
I'm okay with that.
I haven't gotten to play Chivalry 2, but I will ask this. I loved Chivalry. Is it better than the first one?
I never played the first one, so that's not. I can't answer that for you, unfortunately. I will say, I mean, it's with its problems. It's a small team. Matchmaking was broken, and it sounds like it's broke again. Like we literally would have to like do that old school thing where we'd be like, hey, okay, everyone refresh the server list now. Pick the one that says 64 on this map. Code 23568. Okay, everyone in that one? Yeah. Oh, sweet, cool. Very old school
fine.
way of PC gaming.
Yeah. I love the original one enough to be more than content throwing it behind there to give it that if it wins, I won't be upset at all. You know what I mean?
Okay, all right.
The first
Also,
one was good.
Friend of the show, VC Jester, just gave us $5 super chat. Thank you so much. Said, I, for one, would love to play Chivalry 2 with Gordon, just so he has the opportunity to kick me in the shin for all the grief I give him.
It's ancient. So you just run around like a barbarian or something, or what?
Mm-hmm.
What is it?
It's like knights.
You're a knight.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
yeah. So it's that Middle Ages, so you're essentially there's different kinds of game modes, but essentially it's some sort of control kind of thing where you're playing defense or offense, and it spawns you in. It's massive. I think it's up to 64 player count.
I wonder what the game physics are like, because that sounds like that'd be
Chaos.
a cool.
It's chaos. It's dumb. Like there was, when it first came out, there was people like I just saw a bunch of like GIFs where somebody would because you can throw your weapon too, so you can pick up a weapon, you can also throw it. So somebody like threw it at a like a light that was up on a pole, and it knocked off and fell on somebody and killed them. Yeah, like the ability to have like fun physics stuff in here is awesome. So yeah, that's what I dig.
It sounds like the first one, only more. So I am perfectly content with handing that over.
Okay, sweet. Any objections? Any counter?
No, I think we all put in for
I
it.
think we all need to get in a massive game.
I know, man. Imagine if we had like a guild, like a night guild of all full nerd people, where we just take on the community. The five of us team up. That would be hilarious.
It would be.
I would totally
Count me
do
in.
that. Okay, then let me finalize the little graphic here.
First person stabber.
First person stabber. Yeah, no, it is fun. Gordon, you should definitely try it.
Is it on Steam or?
Can you still throw your weapon away?
Yes, you can. Yeah.
Don't hit that button by accident if you're playing. There's nothing worse than running into battle and
Unless you
throwing your
need to.
sword and being like,
All right, so the 2021 nerdy from the full nerd for the best PC game of the year goes to Chivalry 2. Good job, Chivalry 2. You made an awesome game. Everyone should go try it. It's pretty fun. So we got two more left. Brad is sending me notes, so I will be able to tell him his picks. Oh, and then my little grid is broken up there. I'll fix that. So best innovation. Let's go over there. I'm curious to see what people think is the best innovation of 2021.
I don't know if I'm just going to go quickly, because this is one of those little like quality of life issues. And I don't think it's necessarily a 2021 thing, but because I thought it was like something that only came out this year because of the 690 boards. But I was breaking down a Rocket Lake system and it had the same thing, but that's 2021 as well. But at some point, MSI and ASUS, at least on some motherboards, are marking which memory slots to use.
Really?
Yeah, like I took pictures of both of them. It just says like, even though it's still like, it's backwards, like 1, 2, 3, 4, it'll say like, please use 2 and 4. Like it'll actually have an indicator, use these first. It doesn't say use these first, dumbass, is what it should say. And then it actually was on it was on I think it was on it was on a Rocket Lake board as well. I was like, huh, that's actually a very, I don't know what's taken 20 years for them to do this, but it's a very nice development.
Like, how many years did it take them to get to this point? Like, how many more decades do we have to wait before front panel pins are going to be standardized?
Well, they are there now. I mean, even ASUS has come aboard the Intel front panel connector thing, so it's. I think
now
we're there on the front
on
panel.
board.
Yeah, there's some boards. It's weird. You have some boards where it's still like, whoever the designer was, like, I don't care.
Power.
Just reuse
reset.
something. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, that's fun. Well, since he's not here, I'll read Brad. His best innovation is the surprise, the RTX 3080 GeForce Now version. He said, in addition to RTX 3080 power, it adds 1440p 120 FPS capabilities or 4K HDR on the NVIDIA Shield. New adaptive sync feature for GeForce Now helps a lot with latency, frame pacing issues, plus ray tracing and DLSS with a monster Threadripper PCIe 4 SSD in the cloud. $99 for 6 months is steep, but priced between Netflix. He didn't finish his thought on that. Yeah, so.
It's cost competitive against other types of solutions for entertainment. I echo that 100%. I know there's a lot of people who will balk at it, but the latency is a lot better. It would be a great thing to the hard part with testing that, and one of the things that kind of clouds my judgment is I've got gigabit at my house.
Sure.
That's not well, it's just it does give me a little bit different of a thing. However, I have sat in the parking lot of Taco Bell using their free Wi-Fi and played a game.
Yes, Taco.
Really?
That's a story I want to hear at some point.
Taco Bell.
Yes. Curiosity got to me, and I like Taco Bell. Okay, I'm just
that's another story I want to ask you about at some point.
Yes, thumbs up.
I like their they got a good internet. McDonald's will kick you off, and their food is really bad.
Do you like Taco Bell because they have good internet? I like that. Never heard that one, but
their food's better than Panera Bread. So,
ooh, that's a hot take.
Different.
I'm with that. I can agree. So what? So Taco Bell is the best accessory?
No. Let's keep going. 3080. 3080 GeForce
the
Now.
3080 GeForce Now. Yes.
All right, Elena, what's yours?
So mine actually is
Taco Bell.
related. No, it's related to my best CPU pick. So because my best CPU pick was the 5600G, for best innovation, I was going to, or I guess I am giving a nod to the hybrid architecture of Alder Lake. Because I mean, that's really the first time we're seeing this on x86, right? So like as Gordon pointed out earlier, all of us last year were like, I don't know about this. Like, is this really going to work? How's it going to work? Is it going to be any good? But I do think that seeing this, play out well, probably will have some pretty significant ripple effects down the road for, what PCs are going to be like, especially in laptops, I think. So, I mean, I think it's worth a nod.
That's a pretty good one. That's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I didn't forget you, Alder Lake.
It's better than just simply marking use slots 2 and 4 on the board.
I will say something along the lines of Gordon. I thought he was going to steal mine. There was a couple people in the chat who had mentioned this, and thank you, Mike Quitten. I saw your super chat. I'll hold it for the next one. Is the Flash Photo said best innovation PCIe push button ejection for the video card. We had some people on YouTube make videos of that, and I was just like, oh wow, that's pretty nice. I mean, you don't always need it, but if you have a really big tower cooler or something like that, I like Gordon's little trick to get the PCI cover slot in there. Now I use that now that I know it, but that little push button is pretty nice too. So that was one I wanted to throw it in there. But honestly,
I just ripped the tab off.
Yeah, I mean, you can, right? You don't need to. It doesn't need to click in.
That's the hardware unboxed methodology, right?
Well, you know what my trick is, Keith? I don't know if Adam
What's
didn't
that?
explain. So every PC that you get comes with this free tool. In fact, there's like generally 5 or 6 free tools included with every case. And if you take the slot cover, when you take that instead of throwing it in the garbage, you keep one
You
around.
throw them away.
Huh? Well, no, I know. I have like 800 of them, but you keep it, and they're perfectly sized, so you can slip it between
For most
a
GPUs.
graphics card. Yeah, no, I mean,
No, there's one. There's one that it won't fit. I have.
I can't see how that, but you just go at an angle then. But you basically, it slips. If you have like two, this comes from the SLI days. If you have 2 graphics cards and there's no space, if you take that slot cover and you push it between them, it will hit the release. So
And then when it slips off, it cuts
Or
traces.
tips.
the same tool also will work with Intel stock coolers. So you know how you sometimes just can't break them loose. It takes a slot head. You just put the end of that in, turn it, and remove your Intel stock cooler with it.
Pro building chips right here.
There you go. Boom. You learn something when you listen to the show.
But
not just get hungry.
As much as I like my hey, use these RAM slots development, I agree that pales in comparison to hybrid and also GeForce Now. So I'm convinced I have to go with GeForce Now.
Really? Oh, I thought you'd go with Alder Lake.
No, because I pushed hard for Alder Lake, and clearly I think it's good there. So my feeling is it's well represented. I really do feel like which is good though. It's a good pick for Elena. It's a really, really smart choice. But I feel like GeForce Now, yeah, that's with the 1080 tier, that's pretty good, and that's a good place to recognize it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's hard because I feel like best innovation is just another tier for GeForce. Like, is it really? I mean, it's got some innovative features. It's pushing streaming forward, but I don't know how innovative it is.
Well, it's far more innovative than some designer who actually designed the silk screen for the motherboard to say use these slots.
Something you should have already been doing.
Yeah,
is not innovation.
20 years ago.
Yeah.
Should have been doing it 20 years ago.
I kind of. It's funny. I fall on the side of Elena, even though I like GeForce Now. I follow on the side of Elena of that architecture. I think it is a viable future for sure. It's cool that it came out and it's not completely broken, which is pretty fun. So, but it sounds like. Wait, what was your pick, Keith? Was it GeForce Now? No.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well.
And Brad.
Yeah, I know. 3-2. All right. Well, me and you, Elena. We'll go get some Taco Bell.
Yeah. Oh God.
I know you don't like.
Well, I'm gonna have to book some time afterwards just in case a bathroom run is needed.
Okay, then. Yeah. I guess by default I'm gonna put. I don't like that we have we need a 6th person on the show now. Dang it, we haven't been really.
Make it worse. It'll just be forever deadlocked.
Well, no, because I feel like we always just leaned on the chat before, and it was kind of fun to just be like, "What the chat's gonna?"
That's how I won in 2018 with the APU pick 2200G.
Yeah,
the people's choice.
I miss it. I kind of miss the random play. Anyway, let's switch over here. The 2021 Nerdy for best innovation, picked by the full nerd crew, is the GeForce Now 3080 RTX 3080 tier, which. Cool. I dig it. Sweet. Then the last one we get to before we get out of here and get some Taco Bell is worst trend. So I have an easy one that I think we actually voted for this last year. I can't remember. But Brad throws in worst trend: pricing and shortages. That's all he put. It's obvious. So
Do Do we vote for that or do we vote for scalpers? I thought last year we ended up voting for scalpers, but I don't remember.
I can't remember. I mean, they both suck.
Scalpers were a Q1, Q2 kind of thing, I feel like.
I think now we're in the realm of legitimate shortages.
Oh, no, I know. I was just thinking about last year. I couldn't remember what I voted for last year.
Yeah. The Supreme Ginge on YouTube says, worst trend, voting for cheap stuff. Gordon, get behind that one. And we do have a $45 super chat from Mike Quinton. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. It says, worst trend, price inflation in that when shipping reopens, will prices deflate or will price at any cost dominate versus relevant performance? I mean, that is the question, right? We don't quite know yet. And then Brian Goodman gave us another $10 and said again that worst trend continues to be Fortnite. I like that. Thank you. Yeah, well, and then VC Jester, friend of the show, VC Jester, wants to throw in toilet paper launches. I mean, I don't know. I don't think that's a new trend, but it still is.
I have a few toilet
trend.
paper launchers.
Oh yeah. Oh, actual launchers.
God, I guess my pick is pretty weak.
What's your pick, Gordon?
I just was, because again I was breaking down a system, and it was like, which damn M.2 slot is the M.2 drop under? So it was like, what the, it's always the wrong. You always pick the wrong one, and then people are like, it's always the top one. It's always the top one because those might be generally directly plumbed to the PCIe on the CPU, but that is not always the case. So you just don't know. It just kind of, it bugs the hell out of me because you always like, and then like, what the hell? Do the covers even do anything? If it's a high performance SSD, it comes with its own cooler. So you've got to like pull all these, and then some of these you got to pull the cover off. Before you can pull the cover off, you have to pull the fake cover for the chipset that's not even there anymore to pull that other cover off. It's just a pain in the butt. It's just like, why don't you just have them sitting out in the open? I'm fine for that. I'm fine with that. So, but that does not pay. I mean, yeah, it's funny because Ryzen 5000 was launched late last year, and then it was basically nowhere for months and months and months the first part of the year. So I got to go with Brad, and the supply issues, the demand, the inflation. It's just been horrible, absolutely horrible. That's why we're picking integrated graphics is the best graphics part of the year. We're talking about it anyway.
Elena, what you got?
Can you do me a favor? I was actually paying attention to chat. Can you recap what your pick was?
My pick. No.
Adam's pick. Sorry.
I don't think I didn't give a pick.
Yet?
Yeah. No, I just
All right.
I was just talking about chat stuff.
General
Brad. I said Brad's pick.
Okay. Yeah. Well, Brad is supply chain. Gordon is supply chain. Keith, were you also supply chain?
I have one, but
you haven't gone yet.
That is one of them, but
okay. All right. So I was paying attention to chat. Sorry, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I should be paying attention to the live show, but the community matters to me. So Keith says no. Talk about that later. So I actually have on my list, supply chain, all that kind of stuff. But I think for me, the worst trend is the side effect of the supply chain. And right now, for me, the worst trend for 2021 is that there is really no budget hardware. Like all the silicon's going to the things that the companies can make money on because they have such limited supply that they can get out there. They need to be able to, make their numbers. And so as a result, we're not really seeing much in that, what we would normally call like the i3 Ryzen 3 tier, right? Like those are that's a lot of people that aren't being served. Like I know we were talking about this earlier in the show where Gordon's like, we need to push forward. And I think that is important. I don't want anyone to think that because I tend to pick value, that because I tend to think about what affects the most people, I don't value that. I think that the PC, like what moves it forward is like, it's just such a big, broad spectrum, like all these different fronts, right? So Gordon's representing that top tier that really pulls everything along with it, right? The momentum, but I'm also looking at the middle and tail end, and like all that's being ignored right now. I'm like, I would love to see that innovation that started in the top end finish trickling down, and it hasn't yet. And in 2020, we were all like, maybe 2021 will improve. We'll get to see that. And we didn't at all. So the supply chain stuff's just been so bad. It's still, we're just kind of in stasis, we're in limbo on that end. And I think that's kind of a problem. So for me, that's the worst trend.
Yeah. I mean, I would say it's funny because I feel like at the top end, we're talking about, shortages and chip stuff, and it's affecting pricing. It's affecting low end hardware, like Elena said. It's affecting people getting in to the PC, which sucks. More people, there's people choosing consoles because they can't do it. And an interesting knockoff one that friend of the show, VC Chester, says the tech tuber community and viewers losing their drive due to the current market.
Yeah.
I mean, there's plenty of people who are like, hey, I'm not going to make YouTube videos anymore, and views across the board for every channel, large and small, including us, has been way down. And I totally get it. I'm not here to cry or boohoo about it, but it's. I mean, it's
the shine is starting to come off PC building. Like I feel like we were in 2019, we were starting to hit this like heyday of it, right? Like everyone's super excited about it, and then bam, just got cut off at the knees.
Yeah, it's rough. Also, there was people in the chat. I want to get to NFTs. A couple people want to throw out NFTs.
I don't even know what that is.
Don't worry about it. You don't need to. Yeah. Well, now we're just bummed out. We always end the show with this one, and it's always just a bummer, man. We need to, maybe we should move around the segments again next year.
Ooh, I got something to complain about.
Oh, what's up? Please.
Oh, here we go.
What happened to memory card readers? Look, I get it. Look, the supply chain, that's bad. But there's no excuse for all these laptops to not have a memory card reader.
Yes. I completely agree.
You know
right,
what
Gordon?
grinds my gears?
Right, Gordon? See, Gordon isn't on the same fence as us, Keith.
No, it's this thing called the USB port. It's
you know what? No. It's just memory card reader. Just a little slot in the side of the laptop. Just put it in.
You're
there.
right.
Even if it's
How
a
come
micro.
there's no CF card reader in my laptop or Memory Stick Duo? I need that. Please take all of the space out of the size from Thunderbolt and maybe all the other ports to put a Memory Card Duo. Is that what it was called? Memory Stick Duo reader.
Look, Sony can put those in their laptops if they want to. Just SD card.
It's not much of an ask.
No, I wonder if it's the same reason why we don't have headphone jacks anymore on phones, where all the manufacturers are like, oh, everyone's just going to get a Bluetooth headset so we can just drop this space. And so similarly on laptops, everyone's like, oh, everyone just takes pictures on their phones now, so there's no reason that you'd have to pull out a separate SD card to grab files from.
I would agree with you. I would say the only reason why then I wouldn't agree with you is because even Apple backtracked. Even Apple brought back the SD card.
Well, but Apple's trying to appeal to pros, right?
Exactly.
And they are going to be using
but I mean,
cameras.
Apple never steps backwards. So
that's not true. They went back on the butterfly keys.
Yeah, but that's still
keys, whatever it was.
Yeah.
They also went back on the Type A ports. So
I mean, this last MacBook was a real big step backwards.
Wait, was there a Type A on the MacBook Pro? Did anyone?
No.
Did they go back? No, sorry, I was thinking.
I wish
that'd be earth shattering. I would think.
Because they should have. Yeah.
That is the most annoying trend that Apple has created. Was among many, but the no Type A. My problem with the whole SD card readers, Keith, is you get such varying qualities, and we're now currently in a flux where you're seeing SD card express, and you take an SD card express, which is probably going to go in some prosumerish cameras, more consumer high end. You jam that thing into some lousy SD card reader in your laptop, it's going to copy like dirt across. So I would rather go for a high performance, USB-C based card reader, frankly, for performance, because if you're really transferring, 15 gigs worth of video files across, you don't want to do that over a really, really slow SD built-in card. And nobody's even talked about what the card reader is in that Mac Pro, but I do wonder if is it SD Express? I would hope so. I mean,
you'd hope so, but I don't know.
I think I really need to check this, but I believe the MSI GE76 has an SD Express card reader built into it. So you would think that they would, but who knows?
You would hope. Here's a good one from Jihad Joe. You know what's another bad trend? Manufacturers changing product specs without indicating it in their name or documentation. That was something we did see pop up here and there.
Yeah,
this
that's
year.
really bad.
Yeah.
Not
Were those
good.
ADATA drives, right?
Well, everybody. I mean, again, like we sort of mentioned earlier, I do wonder, like that gigabyte power supply that was bad, got dragged for it, rightly so. But you do wonder if it's like we can't make these, or we got to make it, or we just got to change this part, and somebody didn't do their homework on it. So I think a lot of people subbed out parts this year. So.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
But that's one thing, not telling people or indicating, or, like that's the other thing. I think that's where, people get a little bit. Also, real quick, Asus is in the chat and would like to say our new StudioBook Pro models also feature SD Card Express 7.0 slots.
Yeah, I think I thought I mentioned that too, because SD Card Express is the future, and that's going to be the future of consumer high-end cameras. So you want that, not some lousy SD card reader plumbed into USB, 2.0 on your laptop, which I've actually seen. So,
but here's the thing, Gordon. In a pinch, if you lose an independent SD card reader, sometimes it's handy just to have the thing on the laptop. So I can see Keith's point on that.
But you're sacrificing so much real estate in a laptop for just in case. It seems like I'd rather take another Type C or a Thunderbolt port or another Type A or something else than to have that built-in slow card reader.
I think there's a reason why it's on the StudioBook Pro specifically, right? So different models, different use cases.
Yeah, I'm okay with it coming off an HP Spectre X360 or something. I totally get it. But a workhorse laptop.
A big laptop. Yeah, I would agree. It's harder to say no to that.
Anyway, a real quick teaser. Also next week, we might have Asus, something going on with Asus as well. So anyway, stay tuned for that. All right. Well,
supply chain.
Yeah. To finish this off, I mean, really, like I think the. You know what? Actually, because people, vendors swapping out parts also is because the supply chain and all that stuff is so crappy, right? I feel like almost everything we talked about goes back to supply chain and, shortages and stuff like that. So I guess that's the winner. Yay.
Yeah, that's no surprise.
How do I even say that? How should I even say that? Supply chain sucks.
Supply chain
that
issues.
works.
But you can just say, sucky. Supply chain.
Yeah. Once again, it's the winner, but what did we really win? What did we all really win?
We lost by winning that.
We all lost by winning. So I'm going to throw this up. The 2021 Nerdy from the Full Nerd. The worst trend in the PC hardware business is supply chain sucks. So don't do it again. Because you're really screwing with us, supply chain. You don't want to screw with Gordon. You don't want to grind his gears.
Ooh, that super chat has made a good point.
Oh yeah. Jared Jones just gave us $5 at the super chat. Thank you so much. Said laptops lacking webcams.
Yeah, I
don't know if that's a trend.
Well, for Asus, it definitely was like somebody, they got a lot of grief. Every time somebody walks past that cubicle and that was a good choice not to put the webcam in these great laptops. Well, I didn't know. I thought people would have their own webcams.
Or somebody else said, crap, where'd it go? By including bad webcams, I think that's up your webcam game, people. Anyway, let's get out of here, Gordon, because I am legit hungry.
Yeah, check back next week for your fix of PC Talk on the Full Nerd. For audio listeners, subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, or Stitcher. And if you're on one of those services, please leave us a review. Every time you do, Elena nominates the lowest bid contract hardware because it's available to everyone. Send questions and comments to thefullnerd@pcworld.com. Thanks for coming. I'm Gordon Ung with Elena Yee.
Bye, everyone.
Keith May.
Bye.
And Adam Patrick Murray is going to hit the out switch before we go to Taco Bell.
Thanks to all the winners, all the losers, and all the cool people in the chat. 2021 it has everybody in the chat has kept me safe in 2021. So that is the my vote for the big winner is the people in the chat. So thank you so much. We will see you next time. I think I'm going to hit this button and hopefully it's going to go.